Nuclear power stations across the UK are being decommissioned and knocked down, but existing nuclear waste facilities are almost full. So where is all this radioactive waste going to go? According to the waste management company, Augean PLC, the best place to dump this nuclear waste is at their landfill site in Kings Cliffe. They want to bury nearly 250,000 tonnes of radioactive waste every year, using a method which has not been tested for safety. Northamptonshire County Council unanimously refused planning permission for this scheme, which they described as crazy. But Augean have appealed against the decision. This film will explain how Augean's proposal intends to deliberately leak radioactive waste into the environment.
Let's get the trousers on.
Righty tighty.
So I reckon, who's going to go at the front and who's going to go at the back?
Well,
it's up to you. I'll let you choose.
I guess I prefer to go at the front. Really.
Okay.
You know, that's
well, we can swap over, can't we?
I'm really concerned about the security on the waste site, Augean's hazardous waste site up the road, which potentially will soon become a nuclear waste site. I've got a family of my own, and there are lots of kids in the village, teenagers, and who, you know, potentially will be playing in those woods, mucking about, as kids do, and there is no security between the woods and the waste dump. Just an enticing bank that you want to climb up, and which is where the horse is going to be going. At the Rutland County Council meeting last year, Augean were asked if they were going to improve their site security, and they said no. It highlights a lack of consideration to the potential harm to, you know, people nearby and wildlife nearby.
If we get chased by the security, if there's any security there,
yeah,
we stay as a horse, yeah? We don't break and leg it, we stay as a horse and we gallop to the woods to freedom.
Okay, it's agreed.
Agreed.
Stay as a horse.
Stay as a horse.
So, what is the significance of the horse?
Like the Trojan horse breaks through the gates of Augean, but we don't actually go through the gates. We come in from the side.
We're breaking into the Augean stable after the door is bolted.
Yep.
European policy is guided by the proximity principle, which says that all waste should be buried as close as possible to where it's produced, to reduce transport and deter the production of waste. But soon there will be decommissioned nuclear power stations spread all over the UK, meaning the waste Augean wants to bury will have to travel hundreds of miles to reach Kings Cliffe. Augean have already proved that such journeys can go disastrously wrong. In November 2008, the A1 was closed for 18 hours while emergency services cleared up a chemical spill from hazardous waste destined for Kings Cliffe. Until now, standard practice has been to seal nuclear waste away from the elements in the environment. It has been placed in metal containers, which are then filled with concrete and stacked in a vault with up to another 4 metres of covering concrete. In contrast, Augean plans to put the waste in plastic bags, bury the bags in a pit and cover it with soil and grass. How well this method contains the waste is as yet untested and unknown. The landfill site is engineered to create a radioactive liquid waste known as leachate, produced when rainwater soaks through the waste and collects at the bottom of the landfill. Over 5,000 tonnes of radioactive leachate will have to be removed from the site every year. Even Augean admit that radioactive waste will leak into the surrounding environment during the day-to-day operation of the site. They also know that in time, the barrier that collects the leachate at the base of the landfill pit will completely disintegrate. In fact, once they've left and stopped removing it, leachate will have to leak, otherwise the pit will fill up like a bathtub until it pours out over the top. This toxic seepage is all the more worrying because the landfill is built on top of an underground layer of rock that holds fresh water. This aquifer feeds into the Willow Brook that runs through Kings Cliffe. Children paddle here, and the brook flows through residential gardens. The aquifer also feeds into the water supply of Peterborough, a city 10 miles away. Augean claim that members of the surrounding community have a 1 in a million chance of dying from cancer caused by their site. However, radioactive emissions will not necessarily decrease over time. It is estimated that the quantity of radiation emitted even by safe nuclear dumps may increase by 5,000 times in the coming millennia. Despite the fact that Augean have a poor safety management record and have been fined in the past for breaches of environmental regulations, most of the monitoring of the site will be left to them. The Environment Agency will only say that they may monitor Kings Cliffe, and the Health Protection Agency has refused to monitor the health of the local population. No one is willing to accept the cost of safely managing the nuclear waste problem. So will the price now be paid by the people of Kings Cliffe and the NHS?
Now, Augean have said that when they change from being a hazardous landfill site to being a nuclear landfill site, they're not going to make a single change to their levels of security. And I think that that's really wrong. There were no signs, no fences, nothing to warn us away. It was a doddle going up the hill, really, even in that suit, you know. We sort of took a few seconds to get onto the top of the bank. And when we got to the top, there was a really tricky knee-high newt fence to step over. And that was it. I know that other nuclear waste sites around the country employ private security guards, and they can also call on armed response units from the Civil Nuclear Constabulary. And when we went up there in the horse suit, we were left completely alone. We were definitely in full view of the camera. Maybe they thought we were a real horse. We did our photo shoot, we did a couple of takes of the film, and then we just trotted away afterwards. If Kings Cliffe gets the go-ahead, a precedent will be set for further nuclear landfill sites like this right across the UK. Now, nuclear waste should be managed and contained where it is created. Medical, local and environmental concerns should shape the future of managing nuclear waste sites, not the desire to make a profit. Safety must be the priority. Please help to prevent Kings Cliffe from becoming a nuclear site and stop Augean's application for planning approval. We're not asking people to do a lot. We're not asking people to chain themselves to the fence or lie down in front of lorries or anything like that. All we need is people to write one single letter to the planning inspector detailing why they oppose these plans. That's all people need to do.